All right, loading up some Modern Warfare 2. Let's check out the store. I want to buy some COD points and spend it on the new Nickmercs operator bundle. It should be right next to Timmy's. Where did they? Oh, it's gone. And that's the subject of the video today. The Nickmercs operator bundle on Modern Warfare 2 is no longer purchasable. If you have it, you can keep it for now, I guess. But it has been taken off of the store. This is the first store item to be ever delisted on a Call of Duty store, as far as I can tell. So what happened? And I guess we sort of start this story that has blown up these past few days with a look into social credit and the social credit system. And you're probably thinking, well, what does that have to do with anything? What are you talking about? Well, it all connects here because social credit is defined. I mean, this is in an article on The Hill in 2021. It says, China's social credit system is a combination of government and business surveillance that gives citizens a score that can restrict the ability of individuals to take actions such as purchasing plane tickets, acquiring property, or taking loans because of behaviors. Given the position of several major American companies, a similar system may be coming here sooner than you think. This was written in 2021 on The Hill. So that's how it's defined in China, but it's very much something that is already here firmly. So we start the story, now that we have a little bit of context, with this tweet from Mr. Puckett, Mr. MLG Puckett. He is responding to a tweet about what appears to be anti-LGBT protesters attacking pro-LGBT demonstrators outside of a Glendale, California school board meeting. The school board is voting on recognizing June as Pride Month, which is wrong, actually. There's from the very beginning, this story begins with misinformation and just basically false reporting, essentially. I'm not sure why Twitter Notes didn't do like a community note on this tweet by Brennan Aid in particular. But he starts this off with like a totally false narrative to begin with, because the demonstration was based on rulings for LGBT legislation for the kindergarten level. So keep that in mind. Like, we're not even at grade school anymore. We're down to kindergarten. So that's the actual context. And so, replying to this totally fabricated claim about this demonstration, Mr. Puckett says, "This happened 4 blocks from my Overwatch League apartment. Americans are in a sad place right now. Let people love who they love and live your own life." So like totally, sort of total NPC dialogue response to this, meant to like generate positive social credit, right? Like, you're saying all the right things. This is like the exact reaction that you should have for a mainstream figure on the internet. But surprisingly, out of nowhere comes one Nickmercs with 2 sentences that apparently is going to nosedive his social credit and maybe his career. He says, "They should leave little children alone. That's the real issue." That's all he said. That kicked all of this off. And I'm guessing that Nick, he's looking at this and he knows the context that this is actually being legislated for like kindergartners and that sort of thing. And that's what he means by like little children, like the like this, though they don't even know their ABCs yet, essentially. And then this is what is being prioritized and pushed amongst these school boards. And he's a parent now, and he doesn't like it, and he's sharing his opinion on it. And it's not even the most like political take, really. I mean, he's just hey, these are kindergarten level children, and they should probably leave them alone. And when he says they, he means like this whole like cultural pressure to educate kids in certain ways earlier and earlier and earlier. So like LGBT education, it starts off at the college level, which is understandable because you're like an adult and you're exploring all different parts of culture and stuff. That makes sense. But we go all the way from there to like literally kindergarten. And it's like, well, okay. So it's like there are people who are going to have a problem with that, and though they will speak up. So yeah, Nickmercs, he spoke up, and of course Puckett, he replies, and in like typical NPC fashion, he's like, "Who is this they, and what terrible act is everyone afraid of?" So he doesn't like, he's going off of like the false report, so he doesn't actually know what's going on. And he says, "I think / hope the goal of most of them is to reduce child suicides. This is done through acceptance and removing the stigma of feeling / being different. As a dad, I'm struggling to see the harm. Gay doesn't equal pedo." And here's the thing. Nick never implied that in his tweet. Never implied it. Never said it. This is what's called arguing in bad faith, what Mr. Puckett is doing here. And Nick didn't dignify or reply to this dude because it's not really worth it. Like, he's not saying anything of actual substance. He's not saying anything that is actually pertinent to the situation. And that's just how that's how social media goes these days, I suppose. And one would say, okay, it was just like a social media spat. It's like not even a spat. It's like a small back and forth, a disagreement. It is what it is. People are going to move on from this. But no, Charlie Intel tweets, "It appears Activision has removed the Nickmercs bundle from the Warzone and Modern Warfare 2 store this evening. Activision has not commented on why it has been removed, but the removal of his bundle comes a day after Nickmercs' recent comments about the LGBT plus community." And then Call of Duty replies to Charlie Intel with his breaking news and says, "Due to recent events, we have removed the Nickmercs operator bundle from Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone store. We are focused on celebrating pride," in all capitals, "with our employees and our community." So the part of focusing on celebrating pride is to push back against anybody who has a problem with any LGBT legislation, regardless if it's at the kindergarten level or otherwise. So that's kind of where Activision and Call of Duty is taking their stance on all of this stuff. The horribly offensive statement of, hey, maybe, kindergartners, like maybe we should focus on other things. Maybe I want to have those conversations with my child. This is the stance they're taking. That's like, no, the government needs to have these conversations and the government needs to do this. So that's pretty much a part of ESG, which I will get into later. It's an important factor in all of this. So replies, when it's all said and done, and he had he lost his bundle off of the store. You can't get it anymore. And, he worked his entire career up and to get that moment. Because, Fortnite has had content creator packs and bundles. And the fact that Call of Duty is doing it now is like, it was a big step. But now, everything, there might not ever be another creator bundle because of this situation. And Nickmercs responds to all of this with a tweet that says, "Friends are created in good times, but families are built through adversity. Appreciate all of you that have had my back, understand my position as a new father, and recognize the love I have for all. Ain't no hate in this heart, peace and love, handshake emoji. Which is well reasoned. Like, still, this is not a political stance. Like, this is being drum up as this like cultural political thing, but Nick is speaking from just being a new father and his like own observations here. And I don't see how people could look at this and say that he's evil or he's big or he's this and that. And it's just, really gets you wondering, like, really what's going on with these companies to take this like dramatic of steps to remove things that on the surface don't really seem that offensive at all. I mean, it was 2 sentences. They should leave little children alone. That's the real issue. That's literally that's all it took. That's all it took. In the year of 2023, that's all it took. And the reason is why is because companies like Activision and companies who largely operate in the Western world are all under this umbrella called Environmental Social Governance, or ESG. And basically, what that is a social credit system, but instead of people, it's for corporations. So corporations all have to be on the same page about certain things. Now, I'm not going to get too into it because I don't want to like get flagged down or anything, but they have to be on the same page about certain issues. And if anybody falls out of line, they need to be excommunicated. So we could very well see not just the removal of Nickmercs' bundle, but we could see, bans on just playing the game in general for certain people if their opinions do not align with those of environmental social governance. And we could see removal in that regard. And I encourage you guys to do your own research on this stuff. Look up ESG, look up who's behind it. And obviously not going to go into it on this video. There's, some certain people who, if you look into that stuff, it's an anti-Semitic pipeline and blah, 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 blah. Really, just do your own research, be level-headed about it, look at the facts, and see that all of these companies are in on it, and all of these companies have an obligation to hold this stuff up. And that's really just how it's going to be for any Call of Duty content creator who wants to keep getting flown out and do all these special deals, whether it's a bundle or, an early access preview. Like, they have to have certain beliefs, and they have to have certain opinions. And if they don't have those, you just don't express yourself in that regard. You don't speak out. And that's pretty much how it's going to be for any sort of video game content creator for these like bigger companies. I think Nick has like a big enough brand. Like, even if he were removed from FaZe, and if FaZe had like ESG guidelines that would say remove Nick, he could make it on his own because he's like that big of a personality. But as for everybody else, it's like, you gotta believe this way and fall in line, or else we'll get rid of you. And personally, I am a content creator. I love Call of Duty. I love the franchise. I've loved it for a very long time, but I am not going to compromise on my beliefs for this company and what they believe in, because I largely agree with what Nick said. And I think, Nick has had moments in the past where he's pursued people for petty reasons and got their channels deleted because they bullied him or whatever, and his thumbnails were cringe, or, it's like this whole thing. But, I think at its heart is that Nick, has his beliefs. They're not unreasonable. They're not crazy. Like, if you were on the outside of this whole thing, you would think that Nick is like this crazy, like he went full Nazi mode and he's throwing up Roman salutes and all this stuff. And he just said, leave the little kids alone. Like, and I don't know. It's just where things are going, I suppose, and a bit of a different video today. But thanks for sticking around. I didn't really write a script or anything. I just wanted to get my thoughts out on this because it's ridiculous. And yeah, so stick around. I'm gonna have a video coming up about the next big custom map for Black Ops 3. It's gonna be like Outbreak mode, but on Black Ops 3. It's gonna be super cool. So yeah, stick around. Drop a comment down below your thoughts on this whole situation. Drop a like on the video. Hit that notification bell for more Call of Duty content.